Presenting a brief history of information technology. In this video, important innovations that have influenced the exchange of information will be explored. These innovations often emerge to fulfill the specific needs of mankind in that moment. The emergence of new infotech allowed rapid growth because of its tendency to make processes more feasible and economic. To begin, it's important to know what information technology is. Information technology is considered technology that's used for storing, retrieving, and sending information. Information technology can be as simple as paper clips to as complex as computers. Information has always been exchanged between humans, but not always like it currently has. In the earliest ages of information tech, humans communicated through symbols or simple drawings, such as hieroglyphics or petroglyphs. From these, alphabet symbols were created. As the alphabet became more popular, especially to record surpluses in agriculture, people began to record information, usually on clay tablets or paper from the papyrus plant. Books were made from this need of being able to record and store data. Historians argue that the printing press may be the most revolutionary invention in all of human history. In his report on the economic impact of the printing press, Jeremy Dittmar argues that the printing press and its effect on information are parallel to the emergence of the internet. The printing press was established around 1450 in Germany, and it dramatically changed the way information was stored and exchanged. The first man to demonstrate the practicability of movable type was Johannes Gutenberg. Gutenberg's printing press emerged from the need for a better and cheaper method of printing. Before the printing press, books had to be painstakingly handmade, making them very expensive. Only the very rich had books. With the printing press, books could be cheaply mass-produced, which made information widely available for the first time. Printing spread new ideas quickly and with great impact. A couple thousand years later, railroads became the primary transportation method in the U.S. Railroads created more distributed businesses, which needed effective communication between them. These long distances also required an increase in the ability to manage info, such as quantities and arrival times. The railroad expansion motivated a very big part of infotech called telecommunications, which describes the exchange of information over a distance. At this time in history, the telegraph was invented by Samuel Morse in 1835, but a completed line of communication wasn't established until 1844. Morse's telegraph transferred messages along wires from a sending device to a receiving device as pulses of electricity, using some sort of code that both the senders and receivers understood. The device was essential for directing railroad operations, but also revolutionized the speed of news delivery. People could now get news within hours instead of weeks. Joanne Yates illustrates this point when she wrote, "Before telegraph's introduction, news and information traveled only as fast as did people, using horses, stagecoaches, ships, or the new railroads." Appearing on the scene around the 1870s was a typewriter, which was perfected by Christopher Sholes. Many people had tried to develop a typewriting invention, but they were not practical. Using them often took more time than writing with a pen. Sholes' typewriter filled the need of faster production of documents. The typewriter had a slow beginning but took off in the 1880s as jobs became more complex. Employees that specialized in correspondence and keeping accounts began to rely on technology like the typewriter to efficiently do their jobs. Yates explained that the need for typewriters encouraged competition and continued tech evolution, while the reductions in time and cost associated with it increased the standard of written communication. Moving on, the telephone, one of the most popular forms of communication ever, was created by Alexander Graham Bell in 1876. It was through Bell's attempts to improve the telegraph that he found success with the telephone. In the article, "Don't Panic, Why Technophobes Have Been Getting It Wrong Since Gutenberg" by Hunter Oatman Stanford, he explains that the telephone filled the need for one-to-one communication. This type of communication filled a social benefit. Oatman Stanford writes, "The invention served many existing needs beyond its business-related functions, particularly helping to cement social bonds in an era when families and communities were physically spreading further apart." Another innovation in telecommunications was the invention of the radio by Marconi in 1896. Radio was first used as a means to communicate with those at sea, and is credited with saving the lives of many people through the use of distress calls. Public broadcasting, a new form of communication, also emerged after it was found that audio waves could be transmitted by radio. Thousands of radio stations rose up to meet the needs of people all over the country who listened for news and entertainment. As the world became a more complicated place with the Great Depression and then World War II, the radio's ability to inform was crucial to the public. Logan Wyman, in his article about communication history, sums up radio impact well. He writes, "Without radio, our world would be vastly different. It offered the first true means of mass communication and allowed leaders and people alike to impart valuable information to each other with ease and efficiency." And now to the internet. In the 1950s, computers were enormous devices that filled entire rooms. They had a fraction of the power and processing ability you can find in a modern PC, and there was no way to network computers together, wrote Jonathan Strickland in his article, How did the internet start? Strickland details that President Dwight D. Eisenhower created the Advanced Research Projects Agency in 1958. One important part of ARPA's mission was computer science. Out of ARPA came ARPANET, a network of computers that became the modern internet. What needs does the internet meet? A better question would be, what needs doesn't the internet meet? The internet is complex as ever, connecting computers, satellites, mobile devices, and other gadgets together in a massive network millions of times more intricate than the original ARPANET. From an information technology standpoint, the internet is the ultimate application to store, receive, and exchange information. To reiterate, more complex needs equals more complex tech. Throughout history, this has been the case. To store information, books were created. This information was inefficient to produce, so the printing press emerged. When the printing press wasn't enough to meet people's needs, new production methods like the typewriter were invented. As businesses and populations became decentralized, the need for effective information exchange came in the form of telecommunications, like the telegraph, the telephone, and radio. Finally, most information needs can now be satisfied through the internet. Those information technologies evolve from each other as human needs influence them to manifest. The theme of this evolution technology is efficiency. Altman Stanford explains, in modern Western culture, we tend to value productivity, efficiency, and personalization. Some think the future of information technology will be ubiquitous computers. From Wikipedia, ubiquitous computing is a concept in software engineering and computer science where computing is made to appear anytime and everywhere. In contrast to desktop computing, ubiquitous computing can occur using any device in any location. In his book, Smart Things, Mike Kunavsky suggests right now is the time to create a practice of ubiquitous computing user experience design. He says, the technology is ready, consumers are ready, manufacturers are ready, the world is ready. Now it is up to designers to define what that practice will mean. He explains that this kind of computing will be directly related to people's wants and needs. In the future, we can expect information tech to become as complex as the needs of the human population as it has always done in the past.